Naoya Inoue's story in modern boxing is one of rare dominance, frightening power, and a never-ending search for greatness across multiple weight divisions. His rise has been both methodical and violent, defined by the destruction of champions and contenders alike, the accumulation of belts at a historic pace, and the kind of knockout performances that command awe from fans and fear from opponents. What makes Inoue remarkable is not only his power, but also the efficiency with which he has moved from division to division, dismantling the best fighters available and leaving little doubt about his place among the elite of this era. The tale of Inoue's clash with TJ Doheny represents a pivotal chapter in that journey. Doheny, known as the Power, had carved out his own reputation as a dangerous puncher. He entered the ring with an impressive 77% knockout ratio and an aggressive style centered around his ferocious left hook. Though he had been less celebrated than other names in the super bantamweight division, Doheny remained a serious threat, a fighter who had never been stopped and who carried the kind of single-punch danger that could end a fight instantly. For Inoue, who was chasing undisputed status at his new weight class, Doheny presented a different kind of challenge. A rugged, powerful Irish fighter who had quietly built momentum and had the self-belief to think he could shock the world. By the time their meeting was confirmed for September 2024 at the Ariake Arena in Tokyo, anticipation had reached a fever pitch. Inoue was fresh off a grueling and dramatic war against Luis Nery, a fight in which he defended his unified super bantamweight titles and furthered his reputation for resilience as much as power. That victory had solidified Inoue's image as not merely a knockout artist but also as a complete fighter who could adjust and overcome adversity. Yet in Doheny, he faced an opponent stylistically different from Nery. Doheny's left hand was a weapon of destruction, and his confidence, sharpened by 3 consecutive wins in Japan, made him believe that Tokyo could be the place where he authored the upset of the decade. The walkouts symbolized the mood. Inoue entered in ominous fashion, embodying his monster persona, cold and ruthless, as though he were preparing to execute rather than compete. Doheny, undefeated in Japan, carried himself with a cocky confidence, dropping his hands and smirking at his opponent as the first round began. The contrast could not have been sharper. The clinical, almost villain-like Inoue facing the brash Irish puncher who dared to play psychological games. From the opening exchanges, however, it became clear that Doheny's strategy of baiting Inoue was more reckless than clever. Inoue abandoned his jab early, stepping in with heavy right hands that found their target. The Tokyo crowd responded with roars each time the shots landed. Doheny, though stubborn and defiant, was gradually transformed into a stationary target. Still, his left hook remained a looming danger. Every time he swung, the arena seemed to hold its breath, aware that one clean connection could alter the fight's narrative entirely. But Inoue, at the height of his powers, proved too intelligent to fall into traps. He studied Doheny's timing with the precision of a surgeon, countering counters with his own faster and sharper responses. The exchanges in the center of the ring resembled high-speed chess played with fists, with Inoue increasingly dictating the pace and trajectory. Doheny, the so-called Power, began resembling a man searching for an exit. By the middle rounds, his body language betrayed a growing desperation. His vaunted left hook had yet to significantly trouble the Japanese champion, and the accumulation of blows was wearing him down. Inoue's ability to combine brute force with clinical accuracy became apparent in round 5, when his punches began to visibly rattle Doheny. Right hands cracked against the Irishman's bald head, smearing sweat in all directions as the crowd gasped with each connection. Inoue's combinations grew more vicious, particularly his bodywork. Each thudding shot to the ribs seemed to drain Doheny's energy and stiffen his movements. By the 6th round, the momentum was fully Inoue's. Doheny tried rallying, briefly landing his own heavy punches in an effort to turn the tide, but the effort seemed to awaken a darker, more ruthless side of Inoue. Almost insulted by Doheny's defiance, the Japanese champion twisted extra torque into his punches, digging to the body with the kind of precision that few fighters survive. Doheny complained to the referee after one particular body shot, suggesting something had gone awry. His grimaces hinted at injury, but there was no escape from the relentless monster in front of him. The decisive moment arrived at the start of the 7th round. Inoue unleashed a flurry of body shots that landed with terrifying force. Doheny clutched at his side and back, his body folding under the pressure. The Irish fighter, grimacing in agony, dropped to a knee, unable to continue. The referee counted, but the truth was clear. Doheny's night had ended not with a dramatic knockout to the head, but with a sustained and merciless assault to his body. The monster had forced a technical knockout through sheer punishment, his blows seemingly traveling through Doheny's ribs and into his spine. Doheny would later explain that the pain came from the muscle above his hip, radiating down into his leg, making it impossible to push off or move properly. In his words, "I just can't use my leg." What had appeared to the audience as mere body shots had, in reality, crippled him. Inoue's fists had effectively dislocated his back and rendered him immobile. The injury may have spared Doheny's brain from further punishment, as another few rounds could have been catastrophic. Though victorious, Inoue's expression after the stoppage was almost one of disappointment, as if he had wanted a cleaner finish. Instead, he had broken his opponent down in a way that felt clinical rather than dramatic. Yet there was no denying the effectiveness. Doheny, who had entered as a dangerous puncher, left needing medical attention, his reputation diminished by the sheer brutality of Inoue's body attack. This victory added to Inoue's extraordinary legacy. By then, he had amassed a perfect record in world title fights, winning every single one across 4 divisions: light flyweight, super flyweight, bantamweight, and now super bantamweight. He had become just the second man in the 4-belt era, after Terence Crawford, to unify 2 different divisions, cementing his name among the all-time greats. The Doheny fight was quickly followed by further defenses, including a spectacular demolition of Kim Ye-jun. Kim, trying to show toughness, beckoned Inoue forward, essentially inviting disaster. Inoue obliged with a sequence of dazzling, destructive punches that floored Kim and ended the contest with ruthless efficiency. Each successive performance only added to the aura surrounding the monster, a fighter not only feared in Japan but admired worldwide for his balance of violence and artistry. To understand how Inoue had reached this point, one must look further back in his career, including his American debut. Facing an arrogant opponent who sought to represent his nation with bravado, Inoue arrived dressed like an executioner from the Dark Ages. The Japanese fighter was attempting to defend his WBO super flyweight title for the 6th time, and he treated the occasion as an opportunity to announce himself to American audiences. The early rounds of that fight were instructive. Inoue, calm and composed, studied his opponent's rhythm before gradually unleashing his arsenal. Behind his jab and right hand, he established control, while the American tried to respond with bravado and flashy attacks. Inoue's power soon made the difference. Huge right hands and left hooks to the body repeatedly broke through the guard, sending thudding echoes across the arena. The American, once cocky, began to resemble a battered training dummy, absorbing punishment from all angles. By the 3rd round, Inoue shifted into high gear. His combinations flowed effortlessly, mixing shots to head and body, often adjusting mid-punch to ensure maximum impact. Observers compared his ability to change the trajectory of strikes to Gennady Golovkin, another feared puncher. An uppercut landed flush, further breaking down the opponent's resistance. In round 5, the inevitable knockdown came. Successive hooks to the body sent the American crumpling to the canvas, proof that trash talk carried no protection against Inoue's fists. Though he rose and attempted to fight on, his body betrayed him. Inoue targeted the midsection with relentless precision, landing one left hook after another. Commentators marveled at the sound of the shots, describing them as sickening thuds that reverberated throughout the arena. By round 6, it was clear the American had nothing left. Inoue mocked his foe's earlier bravado, taunting him in the ring while continuing to punish him with clean, concussive blows. The referee and corner watched carefully, realizing that allowing the fight to continue could verge on malpractice. At the end of the round, the Americans' team wisely stopped the contest, sparing him from further long-term damage. This fight, like the later Doheny bout, reinforced Inoue's unique combination of precision, patience, and savagery. He had not only defeated but also humiliated a cocky opponent on foreign soil, proving to new audiences that his reputation as the monster was no exaggeration. Taken together, these performances illustrate why Inoue is so highly regarded. He has demonstrated the ability to dominate across weight classes, to crush confident opponents, to adjust mid-fight, and to finish with either explosive headshots or thudding body attacks. His career statistics speak volumes. An undefeated run in world title fights, 23 victories in such contests out of 28 total fights, and 21 knockouts. He has unified divisions, avenged doubters, and broken down some of the toughest fighters of his generation. The Doheny fight, in particular, holds a special place among his performances. While not as dramatic as some of his other knockouts, it showcased the sheer destructive potential of his bodywork and the ability to disable an opponent without landing a clean headshot. Doheny's collapse was both shocking and illustrative of Inoue's mastery of technique. Body shots, often overlooked in modern boxing, became weapons of mass destruction in his hands. The image of Doheny clutching his back, unable to continue, remains one of the more striking symbols of Inoue's dominance. For fans and historians alike, the question of where to rank the Doheny performance among Inoue's greatest is an intriguing one. Some might place it below the Fulton demolition, given Fulton's higher status at the time, or the epic war against Nery, which tested Inoue's resilience. Others might argue that breaking down a fighter as tough as Doheny with such ruthless efficiency was just as impressive, if not more so. Regardless of placement, the fight stands as proof of Inoue's versatility. He can win through sustained attrition as easily as through one-punch devastation. As his career continues, Inoue's legacy grows with each passing bout. Already hailed as one of the greatest Japanese boxers of all time, he has transcended national borders to become a global superstar. His fights attract international attention, his highlights circulate endlessly online, and his nickname, the Monster, has become shorthand for one of the most feared athletes in any sport. Inoue's story is not finished. With each defense, each knockout, and each challenge he accepts, he writes another chapter in a career that is redefining what it means to dominate across multiple divisions. The Doheny fight, the American debut, the dismantling of Fulton, and the wars with Nery and others all form parts of a tapestry woven with power, precision, and relentlessness. For boxing fans, witnessing Inoue's journey is to watch history unfold in real time. And so, when we reflect on nights like the one in Tokyo against TJ Doheny, we see not just a fight but a manifestation of everything that makes Naoya Inoue extraordinary. The discipline, the patience, the ferocity, the ability to hurt opponents in ways both visible and invisible, these qualities combine to form the image of a true monster. Doheny's collapse was not merely the end of a contest, but a reminder that when Inoue steps into the ring, he carries with him the power to change the course of careers, to break bodies, and to etch his name deeper into the history of boxing.